Hey everyone, welcome to another Angel live stream. We are so excited to be celebrating the release of our upcoming film, Bonhoeffer, in theaters tomorrow, Friday, November 22nd. Tonight we are going to be diving into the music behind the film. But before we do that, I wanted to remind you it's not too late to get your tickets to see this amazing movie. Just go to angel.com/bonlive to get your tickets. And if you're like me and you like wearing merch to the theater, you can do it. We have t-shirts on sale. Just go to angel.com/bondtee to get your Bonhoeffer merch today. I cannot wait to see you in theaters this weekend. I hope that we show up matching each other in our Bonhoeffer gear. Now, this isn't your typical live stream tonight. We are going to be doing a Q&A with Lauren Daigle and the director of the film, Todd Komarnicki. Stick around for that. It's going to be so good. But first, I want to show you the trailer for this amazing movie. Please enjoy.
Something's coming. Something unstoppable.
Look around you, my friend. How much light do you see?
Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk with you again, because a vision softly creeping left its seeds when I was sleeping.
Hate comes in every color.
And the vision that was planted in my brain still remains within the sun.
We have devised a plot to assassinate the Führer.
You will go to England as our spy.
Churchill sees Germany as a whole. He's afraid that a bomb traced to England would mean invasion or worse.
Invasion? Invasion? My country was invaded from within.
And the people bowed and prayed to the neon god they
Hi Hitler!
and the sign flashed out its warning, and the words that it was forming, and the sign said the words on the prophets are written on the subway walls and tenement halls and whispered in the sun.
I'm ready to meet my destiny.
Of silence.
Now, Angel Studios would like to give a warm welcome to a Grammy Award-winning musician known for her soul-stirring vocals and deeply moving lyrics. It's Lauren Daigle. Her music's touched hearts around the world, and we are so excited to announce her latest contribution tonight. We are also joined by the man who has made this all happen, the director and writer of this beautiful film, Todd Komarnicki. Thank you both for joining us tonight. How are you doing?
Well, I'm very happy to see Miss Daigle, who has brought such joy to my life for so many years. And when they asked me, when Angel said, who could you have to sing an end credits song, there was one name on the list. And fortunately, she said yes.
That's awesome.
Is very kind. The
true.
story was so compelling. How could you say no? So
And also, really, even if she said no after our first meeting, she recommended a great pizza joint in New Orleans, so it was already a win.
Perfect. Good compromise there.
Yeah, you got to take it where you can get it.
Yeah. Lauren, what was it about Bonhoeffer that drew you into this project?
Oh, this is probably one of the most personal. I'm actually at my grandparents' house right now, so this is very full circle for me. So,
oh wow.
I'll tell you the story. My grandfather, he passed away 11 years ago, and I lived here at this house with him when I was at college at LSU, and he truly was one of my best friends. And before he passed away, he gave me Bonhoeffer's book, and he said, "Whatever you do,
Wow.
make sure that you read this. Make sure that you read this." And he was my grandfather was one of those people. He was kind of an historian of sorts by hobby, if you will, and very compelling. Like he would read all the time, very smart. But he was a conductor on the railroad, and I feel like everywhere that he went, he always shared so much of historical context for things while also like encouraging us in the world that we live in now, right? So before he passed, he gave this book and he said, "Lauren, whatever you do, read this, study this man's life." He was so profound. And he was basically saying like, you might need some of the strength that this man had someday to be able to stand with your faith. And in those moments, you can look back on him and have a compelling way to live. You know, Bonhoeffer was one of those people. If you just simply read a quote from him, you can see the depth and the brevity of what he contributed into the world, and his deep desire to save humanity and for justice to be at the core of everything he did was really profound to me. And so to be sitting at my grandparents' house while we're taking this meeting, I literally am looking at a photo of him. Like he is
Wow.
the man who inspired me with Bonhoeffer. And then 11 years later to get this opportunity, I think he's probably doing a jig upstairs in heaven.
That's amazing. What like like you were saying, a full circle moment. That's
Mhm.
beautiful. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Absolutely. I was so delighted when that call came through. I remember getting it in my jaw. I actually think I had that, you know, the moment of like, is this really happening right now? I had that moment. Like, I
Oh wow.
cannot believe. And a lot of my friends, we actually talk about him often. You know,
Yeah.
Bonhoeffer, we talk about his life and his legacy and his bravery. And he's someone that has been, you know, his name has been thrown around in my friend group often. So when I was able to say, "You'll never believe what call I just got," they were all like, "You got to do it." You know, it's
Oh
really beautiful. I'm genuinely honored. Todd, I'm
wow.
just so honored. It's amazing.
Well, it's a tie. You know, when I first listened to the demo that she sent, and just tears were rolling down my face, and I thought, this is what this is. It's a generational conversation.
Yeah.
Bonhoeffer had touched her father, and it had been passed on to Lauren, and now she was giving it back to the world forever. And that's the power of the story when light wins. Even though Dietrich met a brutal end, it was not the end. And he knew it. It was the beginning. Not just for him up there doing the jig with Granddad, but for everyone who hears his story. His story is the one that won.
Yeah. Wow.
Absolutely.
That's so special, you guys. I would love to hear about kind of the process of creating this song. How did it evolve? Were there moments of collaboration between, you as the artist and the filmmakers, where maybe the film's themes directly impacted the song, or vice versa? Lauren, can we start with you on that kind of evolution of the creation of the song?
Absolutely. Well, Todd and Angel Studios were so kind to give me the movie beforehand. Sometimes that doesn't happen. Sometimes they just say, "This is the premise, go and create something." And you're like, "Oh,
Oh,
but I
interesting.
really want to understand the character development." You know, like I really love diving into the headspace. You know how there's method actors? I feel like I might be like a method writer or something. I really enjoy that process. So they were so kind to give me the film so that I could really dive into what was being represented. And I met with Todd prior, and we had a great conversation. And immediately following that conversation, I wrote the song. So it wasn't like, oh, we had a conversation, and weeks later I was like, oh I got to do that again. And like I left our conversation, went to my house, I walked home and sat in the chair and wrote the song. And this amazing man, his name is Jason Ingram. We've written so many songs together. I was toying between a couple of writers, and his name just kept coming to the surface of my mind. And so I called Jason, and it was so beautiful because that morning Jason went to grab coffee with a friend who was a pastor, and on his way out, like they're exiting in the parking lot, he says, "Hey, do you know anybody anything about Dietrich Bonhoeffer? Are you aware of his story?" And he said, "Oh, do I?" He had all of this information. He had studied him for years, and he told Jason the story of when Dietrich, and there's a scene in the film where they're standing on this hilltop, this mountaintop, and they're overlooking one of the concentration camps. And Dietrich looks over to his friend, and it's quoted that he says, in that moment, he said, "What we have here must be greater than the dark. Like what we have within us must be stronger than the evil that is taking place right there." And that's the opening line of the song, is a direct quote from Dietrich himself. And so it was kind of this, the lyric was the idea. Dietrich went to the furthest extent, right? He died for the ones he loved. He was a very close representation of what Jesus Christ did. Like, Jesus died for the ones he loved. And I think that version of sacrifice is sometimes really hard for us to see in this day and age. We have like the tendency, just with social media and all these distractions, like, do we actually know what it means to die for those that we love? And greater love has no one than this, that he would lay down his life for his friend. That is scripture. And so to think, okay, there's an amazing message here of Dietrich's, his compelling argument that even the evil that we're seeing with our eyes doesn't compare to the good that is within. And the evil does not overcome with the darkness. It can't overcome the light. And whenever you really sit in that and absorb that and allow that to be kind of the way you live, you can see how he could give up his life for the ones that he loved, because he knew that the light within him was going to be stronger than anything that they would try to do to him or the people that he was fighting for. And so that to me was really profound. And we wrote the song like maybe in an hour. It was so fast. And I'll just say this. I was really, the day that we released it, I was overwhelmed by people's responses to that song. And I had people that were writing me. I had people that like woke up in the morning and saw that it was there and started worshiping. And to me, it was just, it was one of those, I love when this happens, when it's one of the moments, you know, I was just doing it because I loved the film. I didn't necessarily, I know this might sound silly, but I wasn't necessarily thinking about the response. I was more just like, oh, this is an offering to this project. And it's almost like I forgot, oh yeah, people will respond to this. And I say that in a way to say the purity of this message is something that I really, really care about our world being a part of and getting to witness in this day and age.
Wow. That's amazing. And it's so, go ahead, Lauren.
I was going to say, and then let me just say this is the last thing.
Do it.
We had the coolest, this is maybe quite possibly one of my favorite recording processes I've ever been a part of.
Oh, wow.
And we've recorded, I don't know, 60, 50 or something songs. Like, I love making music. And this one definitely stands out to me because we were on tour. We were in Colorado, and I remember the day of, it's the night before, we were going to just record a demo on the road and then send that to the producer and have the producer, you know, hire the band, build the band, and do all that, right? Well, I was about to leave for our Hawaii. We had a show in Hawaii, and I knew I didn't have any time between Colorado and Hawaii to go back to Nashville to record. Yeah. So there was this amazing artist that allowed us to use their studio in Colorado because they were on tour. And it was do y'all know Nathaniel Ratcliffe? That's who it was. And
Yes.
his studio, oh, I mean, it was like we were living in a dream. You were tucked inside the mountains of Colorado with these huge boulders like coming through the windows. The architecture was amazing, and it was the exact feeling of what we all needed. And I got to record majority of it with my band from the road. And so to get to have them be a part of this project, and, you know, the vocalist making up parts and Grant playing the keys and Benny playing the guitar, I was so proud in that moment. And then that was the vocal that we ended up keeping. So I sang all morning long and then went and played a show right after. And it was very, very special to me. That one will go down as one of my favorite recordings. We pushed it back. Like, I wanted to keep singing so much that we did not make it to the show until Q&A. Like, we missed sound, we missed everything. We like came in flying on two wheels because I was just so excited. Everyone in the studio was like, what just happened? We all had one of those moments with it. That was really, really special to me. And then we sent it over to Mike, and he put all the strings. He hired the string arranger and he added all the string parts, and we added more background vocals. So it was very, very special to me.
Wow. That is so amazing. And thank you for sharing. I think it's so cool. I mean, our viewers, our listeners, everyone, you know, they're going to hear the song, and then to kind of hear from you about how it was created and what it meant to you. I mean, that's so amazing. That's so exciting. And it kind of gives us more meaning than we even knew. So thank you for sharing that.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Allie, can you imagine if Lauren had told that story with some kind of enthusiasm? How great a story it would have been. I apologize on everybody on the live stream. She's kind of a librarian. She's kind of really quiet and shy with her emotions. So
I don't.
I felt it though. You know, it was like,
Allie,
it was
I hope
so
you
genuine.
understand humor.
I do. For the people at home that don't.
She is the brightest light. My goodness.
She is.
Such a blessing
to
be in proximity to all this light.
Todd, what was your first, you know, thoughts and reactions when you first heard Then I Will?
Tears, like of spontaneous, involuntary tears streaming down my cheeks. And what was great, I have to give my son a little credit here. He's 11 years old, and somehow he's pretty much just a hip hop fan. I don't listen. I don't listen to hip hop. It wasn't in the house, but he loves hip hop. But he was in the room when I played Lauren's first version that she sent it, and I had a couple like tiny little notes about maybe starting a little slower or maybe keyboard here, just like the most basic thoughts that I wanted to share with her. But when it finished, I asked my son, "What do you think?" And he said verbatim what I had been thinking in my mind. He gave the exact same notes.
Oh wow!
And I was like, okay, all right,
that's special.
I'm gonna share your thoughts because he said them. He didn't need to know that he shared them. I was like, I'm gonna give your thoughts to Lauren. And then the song comes back, and he listens to it. And he goes, "She was smart to use my thoughts." So now I told him that he's officially a record producer. He doesn't have a credit, but he can say that, you know, he was part of a song
in his heart.
That's
so
actually
special.
Those moments are so dear when you can see like your offspring, like your next generation, kind of carrying what you so passionately live by. I mean, that to me, I have a couple of nieces and nephews, and when I see them working so hard at singing or playing the drums or playing the piano, my heart, I can't hold it in. It just does something so deep to my core. So tell your son, thank you, that I loved his notes and that we listened. And I know, Ali, you had mentioned earlier, you're like, was there anything that correlated from the movie? The choir. I that
Mm,
was that was your note, Todd. You had said, something about there being like a choral element because of how much Bonhoeffer learned when he moved to the States, from the gospel community. And
Exactly.
so that was a special part for me. So tell your
huh.
son, good job. I don't know if that was your son's note or if that was your note, but
Well,
the choir was a
let's
great ad.
let's say it's God's note. But
That's amazing.
when he starts singing the song in the house, then I'll consider it a full victory. He's just walking around doing Kendrick Lamar pretty much all day.
That's so special that he got to be a part of that process with you, Todd.
Yeah.
And I wish we could talk. We could talk about this for hours, but we are coming up on our time together. So I'd love to just hear from both of you really quickly, just why you think viewers should go see this film, Bonhoeffer. Lauren, let's start with you on that question, if that's okay.
Oh yeah. You know, for me, I really wrestled after I watched this film. I had known the story. I was aware of who he was in his life. But there was one scene in particular, I'm not going to give it away, but it has to do with him being in captivity. And I remember watching it so clearly, and my heart, it was like, it was struck because I realized, how would I respond if I was in this moment? And is my faith strong enough to endure what this man did and what he endured? Like, do I have that kind of faith that would lead people in the right direction for the course of humanity, not just for the hour that I'm living, but I mean, he's passed almost 100 years ago. I mean, we're looking at almost, I think, 80 years ago that he's passed away. And we are still talking about the mark that he made on humanity. And that type of legacy for good is really powerful to me. And so why do I think people should watch it? I think because it will challenge your faith. It will encourage your faith. And it will allow you to see with unscaled eyes what type of time that we're living in. I think I know that we can talk about the chaos of the world and it, like, what we're all facing when we turn on the media. And we can become really overwhelmed by that. Or we can say, for such a time as this, we are here. What are we going to do about the circumstances at hand, and how are we going to join together? Because what Bonhoeffer did was, he didn't just hang out by himself. There were other people involved that knew about the evil that was taking place, and they all became partners with each other, and they cared about the Jews and what they were experiencing together as a whole, and how Germany was being overtaken. And so I think for the times that we're living in, with everything that's happening around the globe, how can we be a voice for people who need a voice? How can we be a mouthpiece for people that need someone to speak up on their behalf? How can we be people that move by faith and not just sit and watch what's taking place? And that takes incredible bravery. And I think when you can see people's stories that exhibit that type of bravery, it allows you to realize, okay, this can happen within me. This can. How can I be a part of something that holy? And that to me is really profound. So I need his story as an encouragement for my own strength and for my own faith. And it's a really good challenge as well. So I would say that is why I would call people to go watch this film. Go see what it is that is happening in your own life that you might be a voice for, or that you might find routes of truth that no other person can find. I feel like God always has this way of talking to people in a very specific way that they can hear. And it might not be the way that your neighbor can hear, but that was the uniqueness of Bonhoeffer. He heard from God in a way that no one else did. And he was able to really, him going to Winston Churchill is the perfect example. He was so compelled by what he was seeing that he didn't stop for anything. It cost him his life, and he still went to the finish line. That is profound to me. And that's an understatement.
Well, thank you. I hope people are able to feel that when they see the movie. And Todd, you did such a fantastic job with the film. I saw it, and I felt similarly to Lauren. I mean, it was inspiring, and I think people will respond really well to it. So, Todd, was there anything you wanted to add to that about, Bonhoeffer Brave, or what you hope people will get from this movie?
Yes, I want to piggyback on what Lauren said, because what I met in Dietrich was a deeply relatable hero. And he did these impossible things. He did things that I certainly have never thought I was capable of. But he did them in a deeply human way. I consider Dietrich a Garden of Gethsemane Christian. And what I mean when I say that is that Jesus, on the eve of doing the thing that he came here to do, and being himself God, and having come from the Father, he still asked to be let off the hook.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And if you were trying to build a mythological hero, make up someone from whole cloth, the last thing you would do is show him prior to his heroism as wanting to turn the other way. And in fact, because the Gospels were written so many years after Jesus was in the garden, they had the chance to scrub that out. They had the chance to say, well, listen, we know that he prayed to be let off the hook, but we can't tell anybody that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it's in there. And I believe it's in there because Jesus was fully human as well, and loves us in our humanity, and understands that we're the same way. When it gets too hard, we want to opt out. But the answer on the other side is, not my will, your will.
Mm-hmm.
And so what we see in Bonhoeffer is a man who struggled, even though he knew what he was supposed to do. He was questioning all the way, but instead of his doubts cratering his faith, it made his faith stronger. So in the moment, the final moment, when he was offered escape, what does he see? He sees, I must go all the way. I must take the bullets to protect the others. I must live the way Jesus called me to live, and the way Jesus lived.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm firmly confident that when audiences, and I've experienced it with audiences, when they meet that man on the screen, they will know inside that they could do that too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well,
Can I piggyback on his piggyback?
Double piggyback.
Can I double piggyback us?
Okay.
This is real life. This is like real life. This is how it connects for me. Okay. When people are like, whoa, his story is so complex. It's so far beyond me. This is how. So 2 days ago, I just flew back from Australia. We were on our Australia tour. On the way over there, I had a panic attack, pretty intense one. And that is a new thing for me. I never really dealt with that. But planes, they can kickstart one. And we just traveled for 35 hours. And I don't know why that happened per se. I think this was the furthest I had traveled away from my family since COVID, and I knew that I was going to be gone for a long time. Like, I haven't seen them in a month. And I think there was something about that and the circumstances. We have some people that are ill in our family, terminally ill, and it just makes leaving a lot harder. Yeah. So I get on this plane. I have a full sweat, all the things. And I remember laying in the bed the night before and knowing, oh, I'm at the edge and I haven't even started yet. Like, I'm already at the end of my capacity and I haven't even began. Okay, what am I going to do? And didn't sleep. I wrestled. I was just panicking all night. And I thought about his story. And I said to myself, Lauren, you just leaving for a moment, you being in a plane for 12 hours, whatever, just understand that he faced the sweat dripping down his brow. Bonhoeffer did. He experienced the intensity of what he was about to endure prior to it happening, and somehow found peace. He found peace at some point in the journey. I don't know if it was at the very end or if it was halfway through or what. I don't know. But what I do know is that he found peace. And so I literally thought about his story and thought, this is a light and momentary trouble. Get on that plane, girl, and figure it out. And when you're sitting there, when you're having a true panic attack,
Yeah, that's
that
hard.
is really difficult. And so, I mean, this is kind of comedic relief. The flight attendant comes up and it was the Kiwi accent, like New Zealand. And she goes, are you okay? And I was like, yeah, just having a little moment, you know. I'm like fanning myself with her. And she goes, no, like, you can fly, like medical? And I was like, yes, I can medically fly. And I started laughing out loud. And I say that to say, it was this moment of me realizing, Lauren, this is obnoxious, but your faith, what you're experiencing right now in panic, is because you're thinking about way more than what this moment is. It's not about flying. You're thinking about all the things back at home and what could be pressing in. And when you can look at someone else's story that fought through Jesus' Garden of Gethsemane, to be able to sweat blood is a certain anatomical, there's a certain response that is so extreme within the human body to be able to do that. We are all capable of sweating blood. That wasn't just like a wild moment that only Jesus can sweat blood. Every human is capable of that level of anxiety.
Yeah.
And for that to happen, I feel like was also his way of saying, this level of anxiety, I can take that too. And for Bonhoeffer, that scene where he's in captivity, that for me was that moment. And to see panic before your eyes and know I've experienced similar, not unto death, and to be able to gain some element of, he faced the most extreme version. Jesus faced the most extreme version, yet they still withstood. Yet they still stood. And to be able to say, okay, in the moments that I feel anxious or feel overwhelmed or feel, I'm just taking it really human. Like, for every listener and for every person that sees this film, to be able to push through a moment and say, my faith must be greater than this fear. It has to be. There's got to be something that is so much more profound than what this fear is. And if fear is a liar, then faith must be the greatest truth that we could ever know. Because that is the part of, how do I replace all of this fear and all of these lies with the incredible truth? And that's what Bonhoeffer knew. He knew the depth of truth that he was about to represent in that moment. And so I think for me, his story is so personal because he literally in my day-to-day life has compelled me deeper into faith, greater than fear. And that can be a really difficult place to be in. But he was, to be a martyr, he faced that time and time again and overcame it. So that's another reason to watch. Okay. Sorry.
Thank you for sharing that. No, you're okay. I feel like I think that, you were inspired to share that, and that's going to touch hearts of many people that watch this. So thank you both for joining me today. This was such a treat to get to spend time, talking about this song, this film with you both. And, it was special to be able to like truly feel it come from your heart as we were discussing. So thank you so much.
I want to say one last thing about Lauren's song and why it captures everything we're talking about. When she said, what we have here, we already have enough. We can do all things through Christ who strengthens us. And we're so often told in this day and age to lean on that scripture that says, be anxious for nothing. But it's always prescriptive. Hey, you, what are you nervous about? Why are you so anxious? What's wrong with you? Be anxious for nothing. Come on, snap out of it. It's used as like a ruler across our hands. And that's because we always leave out the beginning of that scripture. The beginning of that scripture is, the Lord is near, or the Lord is at hand. Therefore, be anxious for nothing. What we have here within our hearts, he's already here. All we have to do is lean into him. We don't have to be tall enough, fast enough, strong enough, tough enough. We just have to lean into him. He'll do the work because he's already finished the work. And he allows us to know about it this side of heaven.
Yeah. Awesome.
That is exactly what I told myself on that flight.
Good.
That exact thing. Just think about the Lord. Stop thinking about this moment. Just think about him and you'll get through. And I know that's just such a silly like life example, but that is the verse. I just kept holding on. Wow, if you really absorb that Jesus is here, like he is here, God is here, then you won't fear anything, actually. It's kind of wild.
Yeah, it works.
It works.
Guess what? It works.
It worked.
That's right.
Well, I think we will end on that note, everyone. It works.
It works.
It works. Thank you so much, everyone. And it was such a treat to have you guys.
Thank you, Ellie. God bless you.
Ellie.
Lauren
Thank
Daigle, I want to
you.
have pizza with you in New Orleans.
Yes. Let me know when you're in town. I would
will.
love
All right.
it.
Bye, everybody.
Awesome.
Bye,
Thank
Todd.
you,
Bye,
guys.
Ellie.
God bless.
Thank you again to Lauren and Todd, and for all of you for helping us bring movies like Bonhoeffer to the theater. We're so excited to hear Then I Will in theaters this weekend, but you can also listen to it now. It's available on all music platforms, and be sure to check out her official music video for Then I Will, which you can find on Lauren Daigle's official YouTube channel. We cannot wait for you to see this in theaters. Like I said earlier, you can still get your tickets. Just go to angel.com/bonlive. And next time we do a live stream, I hope you'll join us. Just keep an eye out on our Angel social media and Bonhoeffer social media channels for announcements on when that will be. Thanks again so much for joining us tonight. Have a wonderful evening. And we'll see you in theaters.
What we have here within our hearts, so much stronger than the dark. What would we fear when the light is so much greater than the night? If it's for me to die for love, then I will. Then I will. If we just speak, will we be heard? Or is there silence to our words? If mercy moves, why would we wait until the time comes and it's too late? If it's for me to die for love, then I will. I will. Oh yes, I will. Lord knows I will. I will. Oh yes, I will, Lord. I'll surrender everything, all for your will. Abandon every part of me, all for your will. No matter what the cost may be, if it's for me to die for love. If it's for me to die for love, if it's for me to die for love. within our hearts, so much stronger than the dark. Oh yes, I will, Lord. I will. Oh yes, I will. I will. Oh.